Hi and welcome to the channel. Today we will unbox this JGINYUE B650I Night Devil. I bought this for 6,673 pesos with a relatively expensive delivery fee of 270 pesos for a total of 6,943 pesos or around $118 US. This makes it the cheapest AM5 ITX motherboard even if I consider the relatively expensive delivery fee. Upon opening the box, you'd see the accessories instead of the usual motherboard. The accessories included are one SATA cable, Wi-Fi antenna, although this didn't come with a Wi-Fi adapter, washers, warranty card, and a cardboard divider. This is the motherboard itself, and there was nothing more underneath. The motherboard is padded by a pink foam at the bottom, very reminiscent of a fox. As for the motherboard, it has an 8-pin CPU power connector, 2 ARGB ports, CPU fan header, case fan header, 24-pin power connector, USB-C, USB 3, front panel switches, 4 SATA ports, PCIe by 16 slot, 2 USB 2 headers, and audio front panel header. Underneath this heat spreader is an M.2 slot. You can remove the 2 screws from the heat spreader and install the drive here. There are debug LEDs at the bottom of the PCIe lock, which I don't fully understand how it works. But it seems that all lights will dim if the boot is okay. At the back, there is no backplate, which is fine at this price point. But there is an M.2 slot. I also noticed that they pre-screwed the M.2 screw. As for the heatsink, it is pretty much hollow and you can see the CMOS battery here. As for the I/O ports, it has DisplayPort, clear CMOS button which is kind of deep, HDMI, 5 USB-A ports, 1 USB-C port, 2.5G Ethernet, a placeholder for Wi-Fi antenna, and audio outs. Again, as for the Wi-Fi, it is not included and you need to buy a separate Wi-Fi card. For the Wi-Fi antenna installation, you need to remove the I/O shroud first. For this, you need to remove 4 screws. Give it a wiggle and the I/O shroud and heatsink will come off eventually. Again, you have to buy your own Wi-Fi card. Install it here and cover it with this. You can secure this by screwing at the back side of the motherboard. You can then screw the I/O shield at the back side of the motherboard as well. As for the heatsink installation, there is a protrusion in the heatsink and holes in the I/O shield which will fit together. And again, screw it from the back side of the motherboard. With this, I have fake Wi-Fi installed. To install the CPU, open the lever, lift up the cover, place the CPU, close the cover and lever, and the plastic cover should pop out but it didn't. Anyway, you can remove this manually and safe keep it. With IS55, this will not be compatible by default unless you want to remove the heatsink. When you boot the motherboard, you'd be greeted by a pretty much Chinese BIOS. But there's no need to worry. You can change the language on the first page and it is the only option there. You need to press enter and select the English language. You will still have Chinese headers but the menu items are in English. Looking back at all the menus, there is no BIOS flashing option. I then tried to enable EXPO on the memory and after restart, the boot looked like this. Note that I run the system with its iGPU, so it looks like a memory corruption. I tried to restart the system and install Windows, and I got this again. Anyway, to proceed with the testing, I removed EXPO and installed it normally first. Did the benchmark first, and then tried to update the BIOS in hopes of it fixing the EXPO issue. Anyway, for BIOS flashing, after downloading the RAR file from the JGINYUE website, there is a PDF instruction. The instruction says that you need to have a FAT32 formatted USB. Drag the EFI folder from the RAR file to the root of the USB drive, plug the USB to the motherboard. On boot, press F11 and the boot menu will show up. Choose the USB. If you did things correctly, it will flash automatically. After flashing, I re-enabled EXPO and I entered in a Windows crash loop. I managed to boot Windows only by removing EXPO. Anyway, as for Cinebench R24 results, the JGINYUE had an average score of 1076, while Asus and Gigabyte had an average score of 1089 and 1101 respectively. Those are 1.1% difference to each other, and at extremes, that's just around 2.3% difference, which is still an acceptable margin of difference. However, do note that JGINYUE was running at default RAM speeds, which is at 4800 instead of EXPO at 6000. For Cinebench R24 at least, EXPO could be of negligible gains. But if you're going to pair this with a Ryzen 8700G, then EXPO would be a bit more significant in games, around 5 to 15% difference in my estimate. As a feature battle against other motherboards, in PCIe and NVMe, this will definitely lose against Asus B650i as it has PCIe 5. But this is on par with MSI's and wins against Gigabyte. In SATA ports, this is at par with MSI and wins against Asus and Gigabyte. It has the same LAN speed, but since it has no Wi-Fi, it loses against the three manufacturers. It is at par with Gigabyte and MSI in terms of number of USB ports. As for the fan headers, this lacks one more header as compared to the rest of the manufacturers. Though they added extra USB 2 headers for some reason, and it made them ahead against other manufacturers in this aspect. For other features, they do have debug LEDs and integrated I/O shield, which Gigabyte lacks. The price is very cheap though, however there are no local warranty, plus it doesn't have official memory support. Other manufacturers would have a memory support list for their motherboard. This will give you some confidence that they have tested specific memory module part number, and that you don't have to fine-tune it after buying. Or even if you do, you can see the parameters that they have certified. So overall, consider this risky as stated earlier. Again, it doesn't have RAM support list, and more importantly, it doesn't have local warranty. However, if I'm into extreme budget, and I plan to buy the cheapest RAM and AM5 processor, then I could consider this. Anyway, that's it for this video. Do let me know in the comments below on what you think of this motherboard. Thanks for watching. Do like or dislike and subscribe for more unboxing, SFF builds, and benchmarks. Bye!